3 kilometers of the stretch is crossing Desert National Park. The upper green polygons you are seeing, these are the prime habitats where the functional known largest population of great Indian bustard is existing. And down there, these red polygons are showing the human settlements. So I'm like talking about the area or the road stretch that is already existing 1 5 meter single lane road, which is proposed to be widened to the 10 meter. And we conducted our study from August to December 2022. Primarily, the landscape is characterized by arid and semi-arid species such as chinkara, Indian and desert foxes, desert cat, great Indian bustard, Haubara bustard, along with many endemic reptilian species. So out of these, we consider chinkara and desert fox as our key species for analyzing or identifying the framework for suggesting the mitigation measures. As part of the ground data collection, we primarily followed 4 methods, which includes 3 temporal replicates of vehicle transits across the road. Along with that, 1 kilometer walk transits in the perpendicular direction of the road, either side of the road. So in total, we had 32 walk transits. We conducted 2 temporal replicates of the walk transits. Along with that, we had 6 temporal replicates of night roadkill surveys. And also, we deployed 31 camera traps on the either side of the road. You can see with keeping the intervals of 2 kilometers between them. Yeah, and for the analytical framework, we classified the road stretch into 250-meter segments. So basically, in total, we had 247 road segments. So as I mentioned, we primarily focused on the habitat connectivity and what is the status of collision for the animal. So coming to the connectivity models, we merged the field primary data with the large-scale Great Indian bustard and associated species survey during 2014 and 18 with opportunistic record. So in total, we got a bundle of species presence showing the presence status of key species, our chinkara and desert fox, and we modeled those key species with identifying the ecogeographical variables. So ecogeographical variables are basically proportion of land use cover classes. In our case, it is proportion of grassland, proportion of agricultural land, stabilized dune, and barren dunes, along with that terrain undulations. So we generated an ensemble of potential habitat use model by merging or assembling 2 models, that is maximum entropy and gradient post regression model. So the ensemble model is basically showing the relative habitat use for both the species. And the most suitable area, which is having the larger area than animal home ranges for chinkara and desert fox. So we identify the core habitats, those core habitats which are suitable habitat for the species, but these are larger than the animal home ranges. So we consider them as a core habitat, and using the circuit theory approach, my friend Tribhuvan just mentioned about that. So we generated the habitat connectivity model. So by the end of this step, we have connectivity values for all 247 segments for both the key species. Now coming to the collision part, we generated the 2 collision probability. One is mechanical collision probability. We relied on the traversability model, where we use the road crossing speed of the animal and animal size from the literature, along with the traffic volume from deployed CCTV camera. So we got each segments had a mechanical collision probability. Along with that, we compared the habitat characteristics of roadkill sites with the control sites, keeping encounter rate coming from vehicle transit and camera traps, and habitat connectivity value for each segment, and visibility obstruction around the road. So basically, we hypothesized that the vegetation cover around the road increases the collision of probability of chinkara. So in the final of this, the logistic model outputted us the value of empirical collision probability for each segment. And in the end, we pooled the encounter rate coming from vehicle transit and camera traps. So we merged both the values, and that gave us pooled encounter rate. By overlaying both the collision probability with the encounter rate, we got the collision rate for each segment. So now we have one side we have all the segments, the connectivity value. One side we have the collision value, which is talking about how important the area or the segment is to maintain the connectivity of habitat for the species. Also, what is the probability of collision for both the key species. Now the time comes to combine both the models. So we, to account the nearby pixel value, we aggregated values of 3 neighbor pixels. So now we have average value of each 720 pixel value, which is representing the mean value of every 250 meter segment value. So then further we rescale all the connectivity values and the collision values to 0 to 1, and we average it to generate the composite priority score. So basically composite priority score is a continuum going from 0 to 1. It is showing the characteristics of collision also, showing the characteristics of connectivity also. But our prime aim to identify what are those segments where we should place the mitigation structures. So we identified the top 10 percentile composite priority score in every 5 kilometer segment and every 3 kilometer segments. The 5 kilometer segment is basically considered as the animal or Chinkara's home range is the 5 square kilometer reported, and desert fox home range is basically 2 to 3 square kilometer. So we selected the top best segment, which is having the top best priority score in every 5 kilometer and 3 kilometer segments. Yeah, so based on those number of segments, we suggested the underpasses and box culverts for Chinkara and Desert Fox respectively. So coming to the results part. Yeah, so this is the distribution of key species. The black points are showing the records of Chinkara and red points are showing the Desert Fox records. And this is in respect to land use cover classes. So the current existing road, the 5 meter road, is not having any mitigation structure. It means this is a dead trap for so many wildlife species. But in case of upgrading the road in double lane, it gives us the opportunity to provide the strategic mitigation structures. So in that case, there is a scope of saving wildlife from the road collision. So this map is showing. This map is showing the distribution of encounter rate for both the key species along with the roadkill sites of Chinkara and desert foxes. This is showing the left two green maps are showing the habitat use models. So this is an ensemble which is showing the relative habitat use for both the key species. In case of ROC is showing a significant high accuracy of both the models, and the right two maps are showing that how much that area is important for maintaining their habitat connectivity, where the red polygons, these are the core habitats of the species which are connected by the dotted least cost pathways, and the layer in the background is basically movement probability for both the key species. Now coming to the collision part. So now in the end, by merging both the collision probability, we generated the especially explicit collision probability for both the key species, which and as we assume that the visibility obstruction is influencing the collision probability of Chinkara, and collision probability of Chinkara and desert fox is positively influenced by habitat connectivity and encounter rate. And in the study area, there is one site, Khuri, that is basically a tourist hotspot, which basically where the traffic influx changes with time. So in that case, we got that as the traffic volume increases, the collision probability also increases. In the end, we found the continuum of composite priority score, which is basically ranging from 0 to 1 for both the species. And further, we identified the 10 percentile top rank priority score for segment prioritization. And as I mentioned, that every 5 and 3 kilometer segment, we identified the underpasses and the box culvert location. So these are the location of underpasses and box culvert, where the left lines are showing the segments of 5 kilometer, and right lines are showing the segments of 3 kilometer. These are the basic structures of underpasses and box culvert we suggested. And here I would like to conclude that general EIA studies are primarily focused on the biodiversity values around the road. But here in this case, we focused on the biodiversity values along with the habitat use and connectivity, and also the animal collision status. So further, we are planning to look at the efficacy by comparing animal encounters on segments proposed for mitigation structures with the control sites. And I would say we are not saying that where the road should be, or I mean the road gonna be there or not, but we are like this main flow or workflow is talking that what can be the better approach to plan or place the mitigation structures when we have the habitat connectivity and collision both the data sets. With these, I would like to acknowledge these people. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashish. The next speaker will be Aman Bhatia. He's going to speak about paving the way, wildlife-friendly measures along the proposed highway in the Rajaji Tiger Reserve.
Aman completed his MSc in Wildlife Conservation Action from BVIER Pune. He joined the institute in 2023 and he's interested in human wildlife interactions.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Today, I'll be talking about the study on the mitigation plan of the proposed four-lane Haridwar bypass project road. So, Haridwar is a religious place and it has a holy river Ganga, which is also worshipped as a goddess by Hindu community. It is also on the way to Dehradun, Rishikesh, and some other tourist destinations, and which gets heavy crowd during the tourist season. Haridwar also gets so much crowd during the religious festival. This year, in 2023, during the Kawad Yatra, over 4 crore Kawad Yatris reached Haridwar. So, being an old city, most of the roads around the Haridwar get overcrowded. During Char Dham Yatra and other tourist season, road in and around Haridwar gets very high volume of traffic. It leads to traffic jam and diversion through the Haridwar Chila Rishikesh road, which goes through the forest of Rajaji Tiger Reserve. And there can be seen negative interaction of humans and elephants because of high movement of traffic. So, to solve this problem, Ministry of Road Transport, Highway and National Highway Authority of India plan to develop four-lane Haridwar bypass road. So, that highway is divided into two packages. These are some existing road in Haridwar. This black road is the existing NH in Haridwar. This red road is Chilla Rishikesh Road, which is going from Bhimgoda Miraj to Rishikesh via Chilla Gate. And this green road is also the same patch, which is going from Chandi Bridge to Bhimgoda Miraj. And this sky blue line is the road, Nadimabad Road. So these are the routes which are proposed in four-lane Haridwar bypass project. The yellow one is the package one of the proposed highway, and a blue one is the package two of proposed highway. Blue one is actually a tunnel which is going through the Rajani Tiger Reserve, and South Portal and the North Portal are the two openings of that tunnel. So the proposed segment is passing through the prime habitat of Rajaji Tiger Reserve, which supports species such as elephant, tiger, leopard, hyena, bears, and ungulate species. Construction of new roads upgradation might also act as a barrier to, in the movement of wild animals, which can be seen in Rajaji very frequently, especially during the summer season when elephants come on the road to cross the road to reach Ganga River. But wildlife-friendly crossing structures might facilitate animal movement. So we studied wildlife presence, wildlife use of the area selected for the proposed tunnel and recommended mitigation measures based on the study. This is our study area comprising Chilla range of Rajaji National Park and Shampur range of Haridwar Forest Division. So we took buffer of 2 kilometer both side of the proposed tunnel, and a study was conducted. Field survey was conducted from May 2023 to July 2023. So for field survey, we divided our study area into two grid systems, 1 by 1 kilometer for camera trapping and 2 by 2 kilometer for scientific surveys. We did camera trapping for 45 days and we deployed 41 camera traps for 2,350 trap nights. And science survey was done in 2 by 2 kilometer grid and were walk thrice for to collect signs of the wild animals. And data analysis were done by using SPSec, ChemTrail, and ArcGIS. So we got total 30 wildlife species in the camera traps, and spotted deer was the most frequently captured species, followed by sambar. Some species were captured only once, which were Indian pangolin, Asiatic tiger, and goral. Sambar, elephant, and wild boar were captured in most of the cameras. So these are some activity patterns of herbivores. So Sambar was mostly active after late evening till early morning during the dark. But spotted deer and barking deer are mostly active during daytime, and barking deer was comparatively more active during daytime. And elephant showed peak activity pattern during evening around 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. So these are three major carnivores: tiger, leopard, and hyena present there. So we identified 7 individual tigers and 13 individual leopards in the study area through the camera trap images. All three carnivores showed same pattern. They were all active during night, but leopard was comparatively more active during daytime. This is elephant presence in the study area. So you can see elephant is present at most of the part of Rajasthan Tiger Reserve, and it is also present at the tunnel area. It is overlapping the tunnel area, but it is not creating any conflict. But its presence on the north portal and south portal, which are the opening of the tunnel, uh, which need to be mitigated as elephant crosses from that area and to reach Ganga River. Leopard and hyena were showed similar presence in the study area, and they were also active on North Portal and South Portal. This is the map comprising all the species which we got. So you can see the road, existing road from Chandi Barrage to Rishikesh, which is passing through the Chilla, the Tiger Reserve. It is one of the major hotspot which animal used to cross the road. So now we'll talk about the mitigation plan. So North Portal where tunnel will open, that need to be mitigated. That will be closed for any animal so that no animal can come on the road and enter the tunnel. And from the opening of tunnel to Ganga Barrage, 6 meter elevated road will go for 250 meters so that elephant and other animal can cross the area and for free movement of wild animals. Same will be done on South Portal. No animal will be able to enter the tunnel by using fencing or some other mitigation measure. And on the package one, the road after the Ganga Barrage will be elevated because this is one of the major hotspot of elephants where they cross the road and go, go to the island of Ganges. On the north portal, the existing road between Chandi Barrage to Bhimgoda, this will be closed for public use. It will be of no use, and then it will give the free movement of for wildlife if it will be closed. And the road between North Portal to Chilla Gate will also need some mitigation measures, which will be assessed. So, roads are the backbone of for any developing nation, and India has the highest human population, and road connectivity is essential in today's world. So, we need to find environment-friendly structures through sustainable development, and this study can be example for that. I acknowledge all the following people. Thank you.
Thank you, Amar. Completing your talk well on time. I will also second what Amar sir had told in the previous session. I request all of you to send in your questions, ask more questions. And also people who are attending online, you have to type your questions in the chat boxes and we will try to get your questions and ask these speakers. So the next speaker is Niket Tarashi. Niket is going to be speaking about mitigating the impacts of railway line doubling on biodiversity with a case study from Moler National Park.
PK did his MSc in Biodiversity Monitoring from Pune University. He joined WI in September 2021 and he's interested in herpetofauna and ape.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Niket and I will be presenting our study on mitigating the wildlife impacts of a railway doubling proposal in the Western Ghats. So, the Western Ghats, it's a evolutionary ecotone and it has an exceptional diversity of animals and plants. About 53% of the species of plants there are endemic, and about 50 to 80% of global fauna, which is known as endemic in the region. So the Western Ghats is bound by the Western Coastal Plain on the left side, and all the connectivity that they have with the rest of the India through the Western Ghats. So this project mainly looks into the proposal of railway doubling of 38 kilometers that passes through two protected areas from Vinay Ghat in Karnataka up to Kottayam in Goa, which is part of a total doubling proposal from Hospet to Vasco da Gama. So currently, the doubling work has started outside the protected areas, and so it gives an emphasis on the urgency of this project. To give a background of the study of the project, mainly in 2019, the Wildlife Board they recommended the proposal, but the Central Effort Committee they looked into it and they suggested that the proposal lacked strict mitigation measures, and so finally in May 2022, the Honorable Supreme Court they disposed the project, but with a turnabout that Railway Vikas Nigam can do a detailed analysis and submit a fresh proposal. So with a long list of project objectives, we will be presenting here mainly the environmental attributes, key fauna and floral diversity, and an overview of the mitigation measures. So based on these objectives, we have conducted camera trapping, herpetofauna surveys, vegetation plots, pollution sampling, avifaunal surveys, and vehicle surveys. So we placed 128 railway camera traps along the railway track at every 250 meters, and we focused mainly on animal trails, water bodies, and the drainages across the railway track. So we found that gore was found in almost one third of the area, which was the most dense there, and it was restricted to the flatter terrain there. By summer, it was seen in the flatter as well as the undulating terrain. We also found a number of carnivores and omnivores there, which tiger we spotted at 5 locations and at 2 locations with cubs in both the protected areas. Then leopards we saw at almost 21 locations, and sloth bear also we found close to the railway track with cubs. From the smaller mammals, we saw certain civets, porcupines, and certain mongoose species. You can see they were the most encountered close to the railway track. For herpetofaunal assessment, we conducted visual encounter surveys in plots during the dry season with a total of 89 plots. And during the monsoon, we focused mainly on the streams. So we conducted plot segments in the riparian section and 10-meter segments as we move away from the stream. So we noticed that some of the stagnant water body, the amphibians, skittering frogs and cricket frogs, they were most abundant during the dry season. While in the wet season, we saw that certain ranidae and night frogs, they were more abundant. Lux is forest lizard, it was abundant in both the seasons, whereas Prashal's gecko, it was again abundant during the monsoon season. So the observations that we saw through the 10-meter segments as we go for the streams showed that amphibians were quite abundant up to 40 meters from the. So this emphasized that certain mitigation measures like diversion walls, amphibian tunnels are going to play a significant role here. We also tagged amphibians with visual elastomer tags, so to actually observe their movement from the water bodies. And the study is currently ongoing, and we observed that certain amphibians are moving 10 to 20 meters from their second release. We also recorded one combined frog which went closer to the railway track than its site of release. For LK, we have currently conducted two surveys in the season and two monsoon surveys are ongoing. In general, we can see that the rail tails are dispersed completely throughout the area. For avifaunal surveys, we conducted point count surveys for 10 minutes, a total of 75 points. You can see that the species richness was significant along with that up to 12 species. And we saw that certain canopy species were quite encountered close to the track. Interestingly, certain cavity nesting species like hornbills, they were also present close to the track. For pollution sampling, and we collected samples for soil, water, and plants, and we further processed them for heavy metals and polyaromatic hydrocarbons. So within polyaromatic hydrocarbons, we could see that naphthalene was almost high in all the samples, along with certain phenolphthalein and other contaminants. And within heavy metals, we could see that with soil, lead was the highest. With uh, plants and water, you could see that calcium was the highest observed. For vegetation, we sampled through point center quarter methods at, with two plots in 100 meter of change along the railway track. And we could currently see that most of the species observed there were endemic for Western Ghats. So certain species like Polycarna, Strophanthus, and Heliocorpus were quite abundant along the railway track. So, with all this data, we can further suggest that mitigation measures which will be required specific to the region. So, certain measures like fencing, bridges, measures in the culverts, which blocks the movement of animals in the monsoon, especially. So, those will be implemented throughout the region, whereas certain specific mitigation like overpasses, underpasses, level crossing, those will be suggested in the priority stretches. Along with this, certain mitigation measures for smaller animals like drainages, covered drainages, amphibian tunnels, diversion walls, there will be a mitigation zone around the streams and certain hotspot rail areas. So I'd like to acknowledge Wildlife Institute and Rail Vikas Nigam, the forest departments, and our team for this support. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikhil. Again, thanks for completing on time. The next speaker is Aparna Sunil. She's going to be speaking about assessment of wildlife status to develop mitigation measures along Tarawala Haridwar railway line.
Aparna finished her MSc in zoology from Kerala University. She joined WI in this year in February, and her research interests include cave fauna.
Good afternoon, myself Aparna Sunil. Today I'll be speaking about the assessment of wildlife status to develop mitigation measures along Harawala Haridwar railway line. Dehradun is a key gateway city in Uttarakhand for hill-dwelling people to travel from one place to another. It is an important tourist destination and a transit point for Himalayan foothills. However, the Dehradun has a limited railway connectivity. Railway connectivity beyond Haridwar till Haridwar is well connected, Beyond Haridwar, there is a single line from Haridwar to Dehradun, and the end loop connecting the stations have only the capacity to accommodate 18 coaches. Whereas all over the India, the Indian Railway has a capacity to accommodate 24 coaches. Hence, travelers usually prefer road transportation, leading to heavy traffic, fuel consumption, and many more conservation issues. Improvement in railway connectivity can increase the passenger capacity, reduction in road traffic, potential for growth in tourism and connectivity, and step towards improved regional transport. To enhance the railway connectivity for better betterment, the Northern Railway has proposed upgradation of Harawala railway station and extension or additional loop line at en route stations for handling coaches and to increase train speed to 100 kilometers per hour along the Dehradun-Haridwar railway line. The study was conducted along a 52-kilometer railway line, including a 27-kilometer forest patches, which passes through Dehradun Forest Division and Rajahmundry Territories. The Indian railway line passes through 5 stations, that is Motichur, Ralwala, Kansur, Dolwala, and Harawala. For assessing the likely impact of extension or additional loop line at the en route station for handling coaches, our framework for the required collection of data has been for determining land type classification, wildlife status, vegetation, and wildlife trails and streams within 1 kilometer on both sides of the railway track. Land type classification was done with high resolution Google Earth images, and land was classified into forest, urban, and others. Site survey was conducted in a 10-meter circular plot at every 50-meter intervals up to a 150-meter distance within the 1 kilometer stretch on both sides of the railway track, and vegetation survey was also carried in a circular plot of 10, 5, and 1 for trees, herbs, and shrubs respectively. Wildlife trails and streams were counted by walking along the railway track. From land curve classification, we could find out except Constant Motichur, all the other stations are predominantly in urban landscape. Vegetation characteristics show that Motichur West has the highest tree density and Ralwala West has the highest tree canopy cover. When it comes to shrub, Motichur West has the highest shrub density and Ralwala West has the highest shrub cover. And we could find out various signs of leopard, elephant, cheetah within the 1 kilometer stretch of the railway on both sides of the railway station. A total of 19 wildlife trails and 8 streams were observed in Kansu and 7 wildlife trails were observed in Motichur. No animal trails were recorded at Harawala, Ralwala and Dolwala station since these stations are located in urban landscape. Culverts were counted. A total of 8 culverts were recorded on both sides of the Kansur railway station, but we could find out that none of these culverts were useful for elephant crossing. Motichur station is also an important wildlife habitat, but in recent past there have been underpass established in Motichur station and fencing has been fixed. So our major concern is on Kansur station. We propose wildlife overpasses and 2 level crossings of 50 to 100 meters. To increase the railway speed to 100 kilometers per hour along the Dehradun-Haridwar railway line, we conducted camera tracking, vegetation sampling, sign survey, trails and stream count and disturbance due to noise. For camera tracking, an intensely steady area of 2 kilometers on both sides of the railway track was partitioned into 165 grids of 1 to 1 square kilometers, and maximum of 3 cameras at a distance of 300 meters were placed. Vegetation sampling was done in a circular plot of 10 meters for trees, 5 meters for shrubs, and 1 meter for herbs at every 200-meter distance. Site survey were conducted in all the 165 grids. Trails and streams were counted by walking in the entire stretch of 52 kilometers of the track, and no disturbance due to noise was also recorded at every 50 meters up to 400-meter distance. A total of 191 cameras were placed at track nights of 7,365. A total number of 27 species were recorded, of which Sambar has a higher number of captures. These are few photographs of our camera. Vegetation analysis showed that tree has the highest canopy cover, followed by shrubs and grasses. Melotus had the highest tree density. When it comes to shrubs, Murea company has the highest shrub density, followed by Lebanon. Correlation analysis showed Melotus philippians is highly correlated with elephant abundance, while Shorea robusta has least correlation with elephant. Clerodendron viscosum and Maria concreta are more closely related with cheetal and sulfur abundance. Hence, Melotus can be indicator of elephant presence. Cheetal and elephant had a maximum number of signs. Least number of signs were recorded for jungle cat. From Menelaus analysis, we could find out cheetal and elephant had the highest palate and jungle. Sambar, cheetal and elephant were found to be closer to the railway. A total of 74 animal trails were recorded along the track. Crossing hotspot has been identified in Kanso and Motichur ranges. A total of 72 culverts were recorded along the railway line. The highest number of culverts were recorded at the Kanso ranges, followed by Motichur range. However, no culverts were found to be useful for wildlife programs. From the heat map, the highest sign density for elephant, cheetal, and sambar were observed at Haridwar, followed by Kanso and Motichur ranges. Sound level disturbance was estimated using sound propagation model. We couldn't find any much sound disturbance due to railway noise. These are few records of mortality recorded along Sama study area during our study period. Literature review showed elephant mortality on the railway track from Rajaji Temple as follows. We suggested mitigation measures for conservation. From our study, we could find out that the entire stretch of 27-kilometer forests are extensively used by the animals for trees nosing. The data analysis for other related parameters is under progress, and we are working to suggest efficient mitigation measures to enhance the tree speed. We further plan to analyze camera data, forest terrain, and profile data in order to propose mitigation measures for the entire railway line. Thank you.
Thank you. Here is going to speak about understanding the dance of urban industry, a tale of mining and changing landscape in China.
Neha did a master's in environmental studies from Delhi University. She joined UPA in 2019 and she is interested in
Good morning, one and all. I am Neha, and today I am going to talk about understanding the dance of art and industry, a tale of mining and changing landscape. When we think about mining, we think about major states of mining like air pollution and water pollution. But what are the problem areas where these threats are happening? So, scientists did a research and they found out that mining areas are in the vicinity of protected areas, from 1 kilometer to 10 kilometer. And anyway, it is also protected area. So we are what? The study suggests that we are using ecosystem and biodiversity to the mining. Are we following the same trend in India also? Well, yes, because India is rich in mineral and it is also rich in ecological resources. We have lost 40% of total forest land to the mining in last 3 decades. Are we going to say no to the development then say no to the mining? I don't think so because recently India has become the second largest coal producer. Also, our consumption has been increasing over the years because our population is also increasing. So we have to find a balance between these two, like mining and saving our protected areas. To find that balance, we need detailed studies. and we wanted to do that studies and finding a landscape for that. And we found a perfect landscape that is Chandrapur because it is geological. It has 29 coal mines. Also, it has Chandrapur Super Thermal Power Plant. It has Tadoba Tiger Reserve, which is having density area. Then we have five corridors connecting five other mining areas. And in this landscape, Tiger density rich landscape, we have 2,000 acres of forest land in the mining. And here I am telling about all the mining. There are other infrastructure related to mining, like roads, railways, and then power lines. Objective of our study was to see the land use and change in mining in Chandrapur district. We used Solar and RGS for that. We created 5 steps. First, we did the ground truthing. We collected this location of all the mines and plantation and water base near the mine. We use Sentinel and Google initially. We use two indices, NDVI and NDWI. And according to the participants, these two indices are good to identify the because due to the mine, the information is very low. You can identify easily using NDVI. For NDVI classification, we use support vector machine, and if some error was there, we classified it. Coming back to the landscape, Chandrapur is classified in 5 regions: Chandrapur area, Balasha, Forest area, then Vani area. Chandrapur is listed only on super power, and this power plant has 3,000 megawatt capacity, and the JPS area is Ashland, which is 6 away from and, here, the decimal left from CSTPS has been over the years. Now we are going to see the mining of Chandrapur region. So Chandrapur region has 29 mines, as I told you earlier. We have clustered these mines into 5 regions, and I am going to give you an example of 5 mines from each cluster. So our first region is Chandrapur region. It is home to 11 mines, 8 are operational mines, and 3 are closed mines. In Chandrapur region, the largest mine is Durgapur and Padmapur, Durgapur, Bhatari mines are near the protected area that is Tadova Agri Reserve. The Durgapur mine has overburden dump that has been reaching to the point of flight and that is witness the movement of animal. From this cluster, I am taking example of Padmapur mine. Those who have visited Tadova Agri Tiger Reserve must have seen the Padmapur gate that is a buffer zone. And this mine is touching that buffer zone. And in this mine, we have lost the green cover over the past 20 years, like by 50%. And we are losing it to the mining and overburdening over dumping sites only. Our second region is Kalasha region. It has 8 operational mines, 6 are open cast, 2 are underground. In this cluster, I am going to take example of Sakti underground mine. Although Sakti is underground mine, we have lost 77% of green cover in this mine. And this has been lost to secondary area or garden downs and mining site also. We have third region that is Majri region. And in this Majri region has 7 mines, 3 are operating mines, 4 are closed mines, and all are open cast mine here. I am taking an example here of New Majri one mine, which has been converted from underground to open cast. Although it has been converted to open cast mine, here we have seen a positive result that is increase in green cover by 17% and it is because their land reclamation activities has been done properly. Then we have Bani region. It is very important region. It has 2 mines, Urus and Penganga. It is important region because it is in the corridor of Tadwan and Tiger Reserve, Krishna Wildlife Sanctuary, Penganga, and Chukara Wildlife Sanctuary. Here I am going to give example of Penganga mine. In Penganga mine, I have seen the dip of 24% in green cover the past decades. And here the cost of area has increased in this mine. The overburden site has increased. Also, mining area definitely has increased. Now, we have Chhatrapati thermal power plant. It has seen a dip of 66% in green cover. Mostly the residential land green cover has been lost to settlement area because of the CSTPS, the settlement area near the CSTPS has increased. The corridors are there. And near CSTPS is Ashburn, which is 6 kilometers away from it, and it has been increasing over past decades. It is increasing every we have now our last mine in Kashmir that is Umred Basin. It is a Multan mine. It is started in 2003 and we have seen a dip of only 11%. And if you will see the maps, you will see that there has been increase in green cover and increase in open land. Again, the green cover taking over the open land or settlement area because the plantation work and land reclamation work has done property there. So from this figure, what we are getting actually. So we are getting that the mining are affecting us in 3 ways. Ecologically, topographically, and how ecologically. There are overburden dumps that are reaching to the height of 90 meters, 70 meters, 60 meters. That is stress in the moment of impact. And these overburden dumps are also these are loose ash or loose soil. So if we are doing plantation there, then we are not sure that it is going to be there. We will lose it. How topographically? Because our dumps are created, land reclamation work is not done. So water slumps has been created and overburden dumps also create elevation difference in the land. How socially, as mining are in the protected area as well as near the mining area settlements are also increasing. So around the protected areas the settlements are also increasing. So obviously the human wildlife interaction is going to increase. Why this study is important in the conservation is because, as I told you, it has a very high tiger density area that is Karwar and 5 corridors connect this tiger reserve to another 5 protected area. And this TATR has KTR has a source population, so obviously we want the movement of animals from one protected area to the next protected area. And here I talk about this mining only, but we have infrastructure related to mining, as I told you, railways and roadways and power. And these are going through corridors. So we are losing our corridors. We are creating fragmented area. So we are going to create hindrance in the movement of animals. I want to thank these people and
Thank you, Neha. We have a lot of questions. Neha, Tarna, Niket, Aman,
अरे तो करके जाओ
and Adish.
Hello. So we start our question session. We try to, there are quite a few questions. So ask answer so that we try as much as possible. Otherwise, we will cut out some of the questions. So the first question to Ashish from our one of the senior most member here, SP Goel sir. He asked you about your work. Your work was taken during August to December when desert is green. May not be true habitat used by Indian gazelle and desert fox. This is number one. And number two is movement are more sporadic during summer. It should have been criteria.
Yes, sir. So, thank you for the question. So, the first question, like our survey period was August to December, but we have included around 4 years of intensive survey efforts, which were part of the large-scale graded mustard survey with associated species. So, that is having data sets from basically all the seasons. So, I would say that is basically giving habitat use for all the seasons.
Okay, so the next questions is from Dr. Bilal Habib. He asked you quite a few questions, but then one of the most interesting one he asked is how was underpass size decided for target species?
Yes, sir. So in my presentation, we are not talking about the size of the buses. We are identifying the framework, like where the mitigation structure should be placed. We are not talking about the dimensions of any of the buses in the presentation.
All right, so the next question is from Akanksha, who is just sitting beside us. She asked you what was the basis for defining 10 kilometer as area of road impact.
Yeah, and area. That's an impact. Yeah, so there is one study in 2013, UL et al. So they basically identified, it was a first slide in our the background part. So they are saying that around 8 to 9 kilometer stretch where the species richness is increasing as the distance increasing from the road. So we consider the 10 kilometer buffer as the impact zone.
Do you have any quick answer for the degree of overlap between collision and movement priority zones?
Sorry, sir.
The degree of overlap between collision and movement priority zones.
Yeah, so around 60 segments for Chinkara and 76 segments for desert foxes were having the overlap of connectivity and collision.
Okay, so the next question is from Gopi GV. He asked you, how did you factor into seasonality of species movement pattern in your framework?
So yes, sir, that is a good question. So in that sense, the land use for what we classified, it was the ensemble of 3 seasons throughout the year. So that is one part, and our species present information is also coming from the different seasons and years.
And here comes a really tricky question from our Anukul, Dr. Anukul. Are numbers of pseudo absences from STM algorithm independent of each other or same locations being used?
Independent to each other and same location being used. So yeah, for that we did models with the different numbers of pseudo absences, and whichever model worked as a fit model, we considered that model as further consideration for connectivity.
Yes. So the next, yeah, thanks, Ashish. So the next is Aman. So you have some questions. The first one is from Soham. He asks you, since your study is preliminary and the highway project is in full swing, what would be the direct mitigation measures to be considered and in which sites?
So we are using mitigation measures mostly considering elephant movement because mitigation measures for elephant will be used by all the species, majorly on the existing road, which is from Chandi Bridge to Chilla Gate, which is passing through the Rajiv Tiger Reserve, and that area is highly used by wild animals, and the openings of the tunnel.
Right. So the next question is from Praveen, who asked you on what basis the location of north and south portals of tunnel were selected. Did anyone carry out activity pattern study of wildlife in those locations?
So that was selected by National Highway Authority of India.
Right. Right. So the next presenter is Niket. Yeah. So the first question again comes from Dr. Gopi GB. He appreciated your presentation and asked you why pollution level was recorded. Is it related to the existing railway track? did you sample from area where there is no track?
Pollution was currently recorded because there is no electrification, and there are a lot of things that carry the pollution away from the railway track. Plus, there are other pollutants into the forest because of the railway staff, etc. So that was the factor that we.
Pollution levels are due to the railway track.
Yes, sir. That is because it is inside the forest, and we have sampled it mainly away from the railway track for the reason that we actually can figure out those are the sources.
How far did you?
We have 1.5 kilometers.
One quick question from our BC officer.
Which is not really a question, I think, there is already an existing line.
Yes.
And it's to double the line. So your suggestion for mitigation measures for the new line that's going to come out.
So the
Done for the existing line.
yes, sir. The suggestions we'll be giving will be for the both the lines. So we have assessed the current line mainly for the main mitigations and the proposed structure which are there. Those also will be mitigating.
The other thing, going to activist and the media to go on. There have been a lot of comments on the WII study.
Yes, sir.
I was recently in Goa and someone actually came with the list of the things. Have you factored those comments of the activists and other organizations and people in the
So they have their own studies as well. Like there is even a paper published on it. So surely those factors will be there.
Should I answer? This is Bilal here. Sir, in fact, yes, there are a lot of mitigations, and I have got around 1,000 postcards from Goa, from the kids who are opposing this railway line. Through this, we are actually doing far better than the two lines. The reason is, when you have a second line, you need an option for mitigating the older line, which is 100 years. So if you don't have one more line, the damage is going far more, because 10 years before there were 20 trains on the railway track. Today we are having 55. In the execution and the process, we will have more than 55 trains on the railway track. So I think doubling, and one of our mitigation measures is 7 kilometer long tunnel. So the existing railway track is also going both ways. So it's far more beneficial than keeping this railway track as such. Yes, sir, that's bad science, because that's only from one side.
Are we making an effort to actually give the information in a way that they can actually? This is what
You can only give information to the people who listen.
As a chair, can you say something? As a chair, can you say something, sir? I think we'll restrict with the concept and the questions. That's a big issue.
So the next quick question, Niket, Rohitja asked you about higher indices of abundance or presence of species close to the railway track may also mean that the railway track is expecting as a death trap, or so do you consider that realignment of the track?
So realignment has already been considered by railway. This is what the final proposals say. The higher abundances that we see is mainly because our study was focused beside the railway track, and the forest is really distant, I would say, from it. So mainly all the mitigation measures that we'll be suggesting are going to focus on keeping the species away from the railway track. We can do for now.
Okay, thank you so much, Niket. Next, Aparna. You have a question from Ayan, who asks you about animal movement in the area will also be influenced by distribution of the species in the neighboring area.
So actually camera data has to be analyzed, animal movements and so this thing.
So the last part is that, he also asked you that, did you consider this in your study?
Yes, sir, we are planning, actually the camera data is have to be analyzed And after analyzing the data, this will be a part of our project.
Okay, Aparna. The next, Neha, can you please come? The question from Dr. Salvador. He appreciate your analysis and ask you that, do you think it is possible when there is already imbalance of 20% forest versus 80% non-forest? How do you strike so-called balance
20%?
versus 80%?
What is 20%?
20% forest versus 80% non-forest.
So, we cannot just do 50-50 now because we have lost so many of protected forested area. But at least we can now save 20% at least. So we can try.
So the next question is from Dr. Gopi GV. He asked you the percentage green cover is dynamic for mining projects as open areas are systematically closed as per mine closure plan. Your comment on this?
So this is the time.
It's already simplified. So when there are mining projects, so all the LUC, LULCs and green cover keeps changing.
Yes.
That is because over a period of time, then they are legally bound to do mine closure,
Yes.
and then they claim the land and have to do plantation.
Yes.
So this green cover will keep on changing. So I just wanted to know your comment whether these projects did they start at the same time, all these two plots, or did they sequentially start over a period of time so that closure plans also will be different. So I just wanted
Yes, sir.
to
So,
know whether simply
some mines started recently, like in 2015, then some were in 2003, some are from 1994. But in every mine, there are close mine also, where the land reclamation or plantation work hasn't been done. So we have seen, normally what we see in the trend is when mine is closed, we do the land reclamation work and we see vegetation over there, right? In some mines, we are not seeing that because in closed mines, the settlement area has increased near that because of the not doing their land reclamation, right? In some mines, which are open, the operational mines, but they are doing their plantation work now only. They are doing land reclamation work now only, and we are seeing the positive changes there.
The last question is from Sahib Khan. He asked you that what are the species that you recorded in the mining site, especially tigers, leopard, and bear? Is that all?
Yes, sir. There is tiger presence, there is leopard presence, there is short bear presence, there is in some mine like the which is near to the Tadapangiri Tiger Reserve, there is dhole also. So yeah.
Okay. So one question from sir.
See, in your presentation, what was observed, in all mining areas, the green cover is not only decreasing,
Yes.
the area of such loss is also increasing.
Area of loss, yes.
Loss is also increasing. Are there no limitations to the area of mining that can be done? And since there are, the mining agencies are also given some kind of a restoration mechanism,
Yes.
are they following that restoration?
Yes.
And just recovery. And are there mitigation measure budget with the mining companies or the government? And are your project coming out with a recommendation and a standard operating procedure for the mining agencies? Ultimately, our study must come out with a standard operating procedure, what needs to be followed. Otherwise, it is a game as usual. You know, a study has been given, they will declare, yes, Wildlife Institute has given a study, they have found this and we continue to our mind. My business as usual. So what is the outcome of your recommendation and are you coming out with a standard operating procedure?
Mitigation measures are already there. So we have to work on implementation. There should be strict rules on implementation. So some mines are following it, some are not. And when we cannot give mitigation measures yet because we have to analyze our data. We have done camera trapping also there. So we have to analyze that better, and after combining all our objectives, they come with a good result and mitigation measures.
They have to be able to put into a red, green, and yellow category.
Okay.
Not about of the study.
Yes,
If you are doing 100 digestive work,
Yes, sir.
you at least 30 are doing some good work. and
Yes, sir.
They are not doing something. Because the biometers need to be proposed from projectors. That's what I think.
Yes, sir. Sir, we'll do that.
Needs to be given for every agency. So mining agency needs to be covered that, covered that, and also the district collector and everyone on the site, you are actually monitoring everything.
Yes,
Our study must come out with a practical.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Thank you, Naga. Thank you. Well presented and well defended the questions also. And I request Akansha to say something. It was not a program study, but Akansha is a legend. He just came into the conservation advisory projects only a few years back. So Akansha has been working for many years. So I would like to let her comments also.
Thank you, sir. It is really refreshing to see a separate panel on a separate session on development versus conservation. And, through the 5 presentations, we've seen like a way of ways of different kind of methods and studies that are being done to there's mitigation measures, kind of impacts and other things. I hope with time we will come up with more. Like as a researcher in this field, I have always found that there is a lack of guidance on how we can, mainstream typical wildlife methods into such problems, and more and more we're discovering how to, get that into such problems. So it is very nice to see that this is being done. Thank you, sir.
I request now the next presenter Abhijit to say a few words.
Thank you, sir. So I first of all appreciate all the 5 presenters in this session of conservation and development, and particularly we have 2 road presentation and 2 railway presentation and 1 mining. I am really happy to see these presenters have tried to focus the options perhaps available while mitigating road impacts, and also the history that is there for railway projects, and still the mitigation that is changing the non-engineered wildlife structures into wildlife passages like underpasses and culverts. For them, I feel that all these presentations were really nice, and they maintain the time. Just that some presenters have taken half of their time of 10 minutes to introduce the topic, so they can take care of that later. And I really feel that all the researchers are on the right track, and they will do really good work in the days to come. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Abhijit. First and foremost, I would like to congratulate Ashish Jangli, Aman Bhatia, Niket, Alashi, Aparna Sunil, and Neha Yadav for wonderfully presenting and also excellently taking the questions. I also congratulate their supervisors for doing this work. Having said this, all these projects are all conservation advisory projects. Conservation advisory projects comes with a lot of limitations. If you just look at the abstracts, one of the main major limitations is the time. All these projects are 6 months, 9 months. Within a year, they will have to provide advisory so that conservation decisions at the apex level can be taken. And despite that, there are a lot of, we always get only the team that is working in these projects knows how much kind of controversies related to projects. And so those are also limitations. So other than that, we need to, keeping aside all these things, we need to bring in our best decisions so that our natural heritage and wildlife species can all be saved and conserved, so that development also can happen. We cannot say conservation and development are just not are not very independent of each other. These two are very together, and it impacts multidisciplinary, like it brings in social context, it brings in economic context, ecological context, and more importantly, on political context also. So we need to work with these kind of projects, work with multiple angles, which brings in more, and so that it also brings in more responsibility to us, so that whatever the decisions that we finally given, it has to be wildlife friendly. End of the day, we all have to speak only for, first we have to speak for wildlife conservation, then for development. With this small comment, minor comments, we will end this session. Thank you so much everyone who participated, asking questions, all the speakers, all the their investigators and supervisors. I thank the director, dean, research coordinator for giving us this opportunity to conduct this session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. And thank you for also moderating the session so well. Maybe Legends of Legend is the title we can give you. So we break for lunch. The next session will start at 2 o'clock. It will be on human dimensions. So I request you all to gather here back after lunch.